right, it's day 4 of the government shutdown, and while debate seriously continues over what Congress should do, there's another deadline looming. We're talking about the debt ceiling. The deadline, according to the Treasury Department, October 17th, less than 2 weeks away. Yesterday, the House Speaker John Boehner told some Republicans that he'd advance what's called a clean bill to raise the debt ceiling without any strings attached, and that if he had to do that, he'd enlist Democrats to help him get that bill passed. Including members of his own party. The stakes are enormous, he believes. Let's discuss what's going on. The Tennessee Republican Congressman Marsha Blackburn is joining us. Congresswoman, thanks very much for coming in.
Good to be with you. Thank you.
All right, so if these reports about what the Speaker privately told some of his closest associates of the House are true, would you be with the Speaker as far as allowing the debt ceiling to be raised, to allow an up and down clean vote on that without any conditions attached?
Well, I think you're going to hear a lot of things over the next few days, whether it's the CR or the debt ceiling. And I think most Republicans are in the frame of mind that what we want to do is a couple of things. Number one, we do not want to default on our debt. Number two, we believe it is imperative that we get the out-of-control spending in Washington under control. And we have put a lot of effort and energy into that, and I think you're going to see people remain committed to that. What our total debt package is going to look like, I don't know. I don't think anyone has the final combination of what it's going to be, but you know, there are an awful lot of us that would love to see some tax reform, some entitlement reform, stabilization for our Medicare and Social Security programs, and we want to continue working through this process on the CR so that we have a funding mechanism for this year's budget. Maybe they all get rolled together. I don't know, but as we go through the next days, I think that that is going to become much more clear to all of us what track we're going to take.
Well, are those conditions you would attach to a vote in favor of raising the debt ceiling, formal conditions? Or are you ready to just vote in favor of it without all those? I mean, those are important issues that you raise, obviously. I know you want to get it proved. But is the raising the debt ceiling the vehicle that you want to use to get those issues on the agenda?
I think it's imperative that we look at all of our spending issues when we are looking at the debt ceiling. You know, we have the ability to raise revenue through taxation. People are not willing to be paying more in taxes. What they are wanting to see is less spending and more prioritization on the items of importance for the federal government. They are so tired of waste, fraud, and abuse in the system of spending. They're tired of stimulus and bailouts that don't work. And they continue to say to us, please address the fiscal responsibility issues of this nation. Now, whether it's a budget, a CR, a debt ceiling, it is incumbent upon us as being stewards of the people's money to address these issues. And as all of these issues are converging and coming in front of us, we are continuing to say, this is the list our constituents, when I'm home in Tennessee, when I'm meeting with my small business owners, when I'm meeting with large employers, they continually talk about the importance of fiscal responsibility for this nation.
All right, so I just want to be precise. If the legislation that Boehner might put on the House floor simply says the Congress is going to raise the debt ceiling and none of these other matters are included in that resolution, I assume you would vote nay, you would not vote to raise the debt ceiling. Is that what I'm hearing?
I wouldn't want to do that because I think the people of this nation are expecting us to review the spending processes of this country and begin to get it under control. $17 trillion worth of debt and the clock ticking on that. Obamacare being a $2.6 trillion program, going to add another $1.75 trillion worth of debt over the next decade, at least at minimum. You know, when you look at all of this, Wolf, it is not fair to our children and grandchildren for people who are elected today to just kick this can down the road and not address it.
But Congressman, I understand all those points you're making, but do you fully appreciate what almost all economists say would be the results of a failure to raise the debt ceiling?
Absolutely, I fully appreciate that.
Everybody in Tennessee,
and the reason we continue The reason we continue to have a debt ceiling debate is because we do not get the spending under control. If we want to get America back on an economic growth agenda, what we are going to have to do is look at these issues and get to the root cause of it. You know,
those are fair points, but you're not going to do it in 13 days. These are issues that are going to take a while.
If we haven't done it in 13 years, maybe we need 13 days to make us do it.
Well, if you can do do all that whole agenda in 13 days, you're a much better legislator.
What if we were to agree to set a framework for that? We want solutions.
If you could do that,
we didn't want a government shutdown. We wanted solutions. We wanted the Senate to work with us on the budget, on the CR, on the debt ceiling. We want them to work with us on getting this out of control spending under control.
I got to wrap it up, but you just heard the president say he wants to negotiate. He wants to work with you on all of these issues.
I'll bake him cookies.
But he says, in his words, and I'll be precise, not with a gun held to our heads as far as that debt ceiling.
We are greeting him with open arms and an invitation. We have been hopeful that on behalf of the American people and future generations, he would agree to sit with us at a negotiating table and that he would agree to work these issues out. He is the commander-in-chief. He is the leader of this nation. It is his responsibility to be someone who is going to lead this debate about how we preserve fiscal responsibility. Get back on the road to fiscal responsibility in this nation. We cannot continue to spend ourselves into oblivion.
All right, Marsha Blackburn making her points.
Wolf.
We'll see what happens. I'll just leave you with this thought, because we keep hearing it, and it's true. The deficit spending has been cut in half since the president came. It was enormous.
Because of the Budget Control Act. The Budget Control Act in 2011.
Annual deficit spending has been cut in half over the past 5 years.
It's a huge Republican victory. Let's get in behind it and do more.
A lot more to go, but it's still been cut in half. Marsha Blackburn, Republican of Tennessee. Thanks very much for coming in. We'll continue this conversation. And if they could resolve all these issues in the next 13 days, which I suspect they won't, but that would be excellent. I appreciate it very much.
Sure. Thanks, Wolf.